And I come out there and I sort of, would you like me to do a dance for you?
Late night TV has given us unforgettable moments, awkward interviews, shocking stunts, wild wardrobe malfunctions, and celebrities doing things no one saw coming. From Dakota Johnson calling out Ellen on air, to Drew Barrymore flashing Letterman, to Anna Nicole Smith's dress falling apart mid-interview. These are the moments you couldn't look away from, even if you wanted to. Let's go. Number 18. Aubrey Plazas' weirdest interview ever. It started like any other celebrity interview. Aubrey Plaza walked onto Conan O'Brien's stage, wearing a beautiful dress that caught the host's attention right away. Conan complimented her, expecting a polite "thank you," but Aubrey, she just flatly replied, "This old thing," setting the tone for what would become one of the most bizarre, uncomfortable, and unforgettable late-night interviews ever aired. But what do you say when a guest casually mentions finding all her baby teeth in her mother's underwear drawer? That's exactly what happened. Without warning, Aubrey casually shared the strangest story. Conan froze. The audience froze. For a moment, it felt like time stopped. "Wait, seriously?" Conan asked, staring at her in disbelief. Aubrey nodded, completely serious. Nobody knew what to say. But Aubrey wasn't done. Every answer that followed was stranger than the last. She delivered weird pauses, odd jokes, and stories so random they left Conan visibly baffled. He tried to guide the interview back to normal, but Aubrey doubled down, leaning harder into the awkwardness. Was she trolling? Was it genius? The audience couldn't decide, but no one could look away. And maybe that's the magic of Aubrey Plaza. You never know what she's going to do next. Number 17. Halib Berrys' look leaves Jay speechless. Halib Berry entered The Tonight Show looking flawless in a tight black mini dress with a plunging sheer neckline. Jay Leno greeted her, cracked a few jokes, and then, completely out of nowhere, blurted, "Actually, you're falling out of your dress." The crowd roared. Hallie laughed and adjusted her top, but the vibe shifted instantly. Jay kept sneaking glances, throwing in cheeky one-liners. "You always notice my hair?" she teased, but the focus was clearly elsewhere, and everyone could see it. Hallie stayed calm and professional, nudging the conversation back to her career. But Jay's tone kept walking the line between flirty and awkward. The moment made waves. Some found it funny. Others cringed. Was Jay being playful, or did he cross a line? Either way, Hallie handled it with her usual grace. But it's not every day the host gets so distracted that even he admits it out loud. Number 16. Lou Sanders' TV slip-up. Lou Sanders came onto a panel show to promote her series Unforgettable, dressed to impress. It was supposed to be just another fun guest segment. Then came Shakespeare, and a wardrobe malfunction for the ages. As Lou stood to read a sonnet, her outfit slipped. For a brief, chaotic moment, her backside was completely exposed. The studio burst into gasps and laughs. One panelist shouted, "Is she even wearing pants?" Lou pulled her outfit back into place, red-faced, but laughing. She didn't panic. She cracked a joke, finished the sonnet, and took the whole thing like a champ. But the internet exploded. Within hours, the clip was everywhere. Fans couldn't stop debating. Was it hilarious, mortifying, or both? Lou later laughed about it herself, saying, "Live TV. What can you do?" It was the kind of moment that turns a regular guest appearance into late-night legend. What's the most shocking late-night TV moment you remember watching live? Comment down below. Number 15. Dakota Johnson dishes back at Ellen. It was supposed to be a light, funny interview, but when Dakota Johnson sat down with Ellen DeGeneres in 2022, things quickly took an awkward, unforgettable turn. Dakota, known for her roles in films like 50 Shades of Grey and The Peanut Butter Falcon, had been invited to discuss her latest projects. Instead, what unfolded became one of the most viral, cringeworthy moments in daytime TV history. It all started with a joke about Dakota's outfit. Ellen offered her a blanket, teasing that she might be cold, or that her look was a little too daring for daytime TV. Dakota smiled politely, but you could tell she wasn't thrilled. Then Ellen casually brought up a pregnancy rumor, joking as if it were fact. Dakota shut it down immediately. "It was my birthday," she explained, referring to the pink and blue balloons that had sparked the gossip. "And so, then I was pregnant?" she added sarcastically. The tension was already thick, but then came the moment that made headlines. Ellen brought up Dakota's birthday party, saying she hadn't been invited. Dakota didn't let it slide. "Actually, no, that's not true, Ellen," she corrected. "You were invited." Ellen tried to laugh it off, but Dakota wasn't backing down. "Ask anyone. You were invited." I didn't even know. You didn't come." The audience gasped. The smile on Ellen's face faded for a second. It was a rare moment where the guest completely flipped the power dynamic. Fans watching at home couldn't believe what they were seeing. For years, Ellen had been known for playful teasing, but this time, Dakota wasn't playing along. Some viewers praised Dakota for standing her ground. Others felt uncomfortable watching the usually bubbly Ellen get called out live on air. Clips of the interview flooded social media within hours. People debated who was right, who was wrong, and whether this interview marked a turning point in how Ellen's show was perceived. Number 14. Priyanka Chopra's awkward toot. Priyanka Chopra's appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon was meant to celebrate her whirlwind wedding to Nick Jonas. She looked stunning in a shimmering, deep-cut gown. Jimmy complimented her instantly, calling her gorgeous and radiant. They laughed about the wedding, sharing stories of Nick's excitement to marry in India. Priyanka told how he practically dragged her to the ceremony, eager to embrace her culture. The audience loved it. But in the middle of a funny story, something unexpected happened. Priyanka paused and let out a small, clear fart. For a split second, the room froze. Priyanka didn't skip a beat. She kept talking, smiling, as if nothing had happened. Jimmy, ever the pro, carried on too, but the silence right after said everything. Fans online quickly caught the moment. Some joked it was the most glamorous toot ever. Others barely noticed, too busy admiring her dress. Priyanka, as always, remained poised and unbothered. It was a blink and you miss it moment, but one that reminded everyone that even superstars aren't immune to live TV surprises. And somehow, Priyanka made it look cool. Number 13. Drew Barrymore flashes Letterman on air. Drew Barrymore has never been one to play it safe. In 1995, she cemented her reputation as Hollywood's wild child when she appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman and gave him and the entire world a moment no one would ever forget. It was David's birthday. The interview started playfully, with Drew wishing him well and chatting about her latest projects. Then she mentioned something unexpected. She had recently performed at a nude art dance club, describing it as liberating and fun. Letterman was visibly amused, raising his eyebrows and laughing as she told the story. But Drew wasn't done surprising him. Suddenly, without warning, she jumped onto Letterman's desk. The audience gasped. Drew stood confidently on top of the desk, smiling down at the host. And then, in a flash, literally, she lifted her shirt briefly and flashed him. The audience went wild. Letterman sat frozen, stunned, unsure whether to laugh, scold, or applaud. The moment was over as quickly as it began, but it left a mark. Drew jumped down, laughing, while Letterman tried to process what had just happened. "Well, you're gonna make the papers tomorrow," he quipped. And he wasn't wrong. For Drew, it was just another unpredictable moment in a career full of surprises. For Letterman, it was a birthday he'd never forget. And for audiences everywhere, it was a moment you couldn't unsee. If you were David Letterman that night, how would you have reacted to Drew's stunt? Number 12. Kari wild interview ride. What happens when an interview takes so many weird turns? Even the host loses control? That's exactly what unfolded when Kari appeared on Late Night with Conan O'Brien in 1997. What was meant to be a simple chat about her new album quickly spiraled into one of the most chaotic, unpredictable interviews Conan had ever hosted. From the start, Kari's energy was off the charts. Early in the interview, she made a strange comment about another guest, a remark that sounded more negative than she probably intended. Realizing she'd created an awkward moment, she scrambled to take it back, telling Conan, "No, I love him, really, I do." But the damage was done. The air already felt a little tense. Then came the truly bizarre part. Kari suddenly began describing a dream she'd had about Conan. In the dream, they were both on a plane together. Conan smiled awkwardly as she told the story, clearly trying to figure out where it was going and how to keep the interview on track. Before he could steer things back, Kari leaned closer. Without warning, she bit Conan's arm. Right there, on live TV, Conan burst into nervous laughter, joking, "I should insult you more often." The audience didn't know whether to laugh or wince. The bite wasn't hard, but it was so out of nowhere that even Conan looked genuinely thrown off. After that, nothing could quite get the interview back on course. Kari rambled, Conan joked, but the rhythm was gone. By the end, Conan just leaned into the chaos, admitting it wasn't exactly normal television, but it was definitely memorable. Number 11. Nicole Kidman tried to date Jimmy. In 2015, Nicole Kidman walked onto The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon and casually dropped a bombshell that left Jimmy completely stunned. What started as a friendly conversation quickly turned into a jaw-dropping confession. Years earlier, Nicole had tried to date Jimmy, and he never even realized it. Sitting across from him, Nicole recounted the story. A mutual friend had arranged for them to hang out at Jimmy's apartment. Nicole arrived, expecting Jimmy to flirt or show interest, but instead, she found him sitting in a baseball cap and sweatpants, quietly playing video games, barely making conversation. Jimmy's face turned bright red as Nicole explained how awkward it had been for her. "I liked you," she admitted with a laugh, "but you didn't say anything. You didn't talk." Jimmy buried his face in his hands, groaning in disbelief. "Wait, what?" he kept repeating, unable to process what he was hearing. Nicole wasn't mad, just amused. She described sitting there waiting for a spark that never came. At one point, she said she even tried to give him hints. "I didn't know this was a date," Jimmy protested. Nicole smiled, shaking her head, still clearly entertained by how clueless he'd been. The audience loved every second of Jimmy's flustered reaction. But for Jimmy, the realization that he'd unknowingly missed a chance to date Nicole Kidman hit hard. "This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me on television," he joked. Number 10. Madonna gives Letterman her lingerie. Madonna has always been known for pushing boundaries, but in 1994, she took things to a whole new level when she appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman. What started as a simple interview turned into one of the wildest, most talked-about moments in late-night history. From the second Madonna walked on stage, the energy felt different. Letterman tried to keep things playful, joking that she should kiss a man in the audience. But Madonna wasn't interested in playing along. Instead, she shut down the suggestion with sarcasm, making it clear she wasn't in the mood for gimmicks. Then came the moment no one could have predicted. Without warning, Madonna pulled out a pair of her lingerie and handed them straight to Letterman. The audience gasped. Letterman stared at them, clearly unsure how to react. "Wait, aren't you going to smell them?" Madonna teased, pushing the envelope even further. Letterman tried to keep things moving, suggesting they cut to commercial, but Madonna refused. "No," she insisted. "Keep the cameras rolling." She wanted every second on air. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more chaotic, she began casually dropping expletives live on TV. Letterman leaned back, half laughing, half shocked, telling the audience to lower their volume immediately. It was as if even he couldn't believe how far things were going. But Madonna? She was completely in control. Every wild moment felt deliberate, a way of flipping the power dynamic between host and guest. Madonna had made a career out of shocking people, and that night was no exception. This wasn't just an unpredictable interview, it was a statement, a moment where Madonna took over the stage, the conversation, and the headlines all on her own terms. To this day, it's remembered as one of the most outrageous interviews ever aired on late-night TV, and proof that when Madonna wants to make a scene, she absolutely will. From Madonna handing over her underwear on live TV to an interview that got weird for a very different reason, late-night shows never seem to know where the line is until someone crosses it. Number 9. Maggie Graces' legs steal spotlight. Some interviews start off smooth and then spiral into pure awkwardness. That's exactly what happened when actress Maggie Grace sat down with Craig Ferguson. Maggie, known for her roles in Lost and Taken, walked onto the stage wearing a classy but short outfit. Craig greeted her warmly, complimenting her look. But then his focus shifted. Right away, Craig zeroed in on her legs. "Your legs? They're here," he joked. Maggie laughed politely, but Craig wasn't done. He kept going, bringing up her legs again and again, almost like he couldn't stop himself. Each time Maggie tried to steer the conversation elsewhere, Craig circled back. "Is that the shorts you've got on there?" he asked. "Yeah, I'm wearing shorts," Maggie replied, trying to keep things light. "I noticed," Craig said, his gaze lingering. What started as harmless banter quickly felt repetitive and just a little uncomfortable. Maggie smiled, shifted in her seat, and laughed along, but you could tell she wanted the interview to move on. But Craig seemed stuck, as if he couldn't stop pointing it out. The audience laughed nervously, unsure if they should find it funny or cringe. Craig wasn't being malicious, but the joke had long overstayed its welcome. Maggie handled it gracefully, keeping her composure, but the conversation never fully recovered. A simple interview derailed by a host who couldn't drop the subject, and a guest who handled it like a pro. Number 8. Nicki Minaj's zipper won't close. Nicki Minaj is no stranger to bold fashion choices, but at the 2014 MTV Video Music Awards, her outfit made headlines for a reason she never planned. During her performance with Ariana Grande and Jessie J, Nicki faced a wardrobe malfunction that could have ended in disaster. But somehow, she pulled it off. The night involved a rapid costume change. Nicki had to switch from her jungle-themed anaconda outfit to a sleek black dress for Bang Bang, all in under a minute. But backstage, something went wrong. The zipper on her black dress refused to close. With the clock ticking and the stage waiting, Nicki had no choice. She walked out, holding her dress together with her hands. From the audience, you couldn't immediately tell something was off. But if you looked closely, you could see Nicki gripping the front of her dress, keeping it from slipping open. She danced, sang, and performed like nothing was wrong, even though underneath, it was pure chaos. Later, Nicki explained what happened during an interview with Ellen DeGeneres. "I had like 40 or 50 seconds to change," she said, "and the zipper just wouldn't budge." At first, she'd planned to wear a skirt over a green bra, but realizing Ariana and Jessie were both in black and white, she didn't want to clash, so she scrambled to put on the black dress. "I didn't have any underwear on," she added with a grin. "I was butt naked under there." Despite the panic, Nicki delivered the performance like a pro. Fans praised her for staying calm and finishing the song without missing a beat. Looking back, Nicki laughed it off, calling it one of her wildest moments on stage. It wasn't the flawless performance she'd planned, but it became legendary in its own way. Proof that even when things fall apart, the show must and will go on. Number 7. Sophia Vergara pulls back. Sophia Vergara always brings charm, humor, and a whole lot of energy to her interviews. But during her appearance on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, She showed she also knew exactly when to set boundaries. It started playfully. Jay greeted Sophia, complimented her, and asked about her hit show Modern Family. Sophia joked back, telling funny stories and flashing that signature smile. But then Jay reached across the desk and tried to touch her hand. Sophia instantly pulled back. "No, no, no," she said, laughing but firm. The audience roared with laughter. Jay looked surprised. Sophia wasn't angry, but she made it clear she wasn't comfortable with unexpected touching. "If you want to learn how to behave, you should go to Colombia," she teased, keeping things light but direct. Jay smiled awkwardly, trying to recover. But from that moment, the power dynamic shifted. The rest of the interview went on, but Jay seemed more cautious. Sophia, meanwhile, kept control, steering the conversation back to her projects, her family, and her life. Every time Jay tried to interrupt or redirect, Sophia gently but firmly pulled it back. "This is my interview," she joked at one point, earning more applause. It was a small moment, but it stood out. Sophia handled it with humor and grace, proving she could shut down an uncomfortable situation without ever losing her warmth or wit. Fans loved it. Critics praised her assertiveness. And Jay? He probably thought twice the next time he reached across his desk. Number 6. Kate Gay's last-minute top swap. Wardrobe malfunctions usually happen on stage. But for Kate Gay, the trouble started before she even walked out under the studio lights. Kate, a TV presenter known for her sharp wit and bright smile, was getting ready for a live broadcast. She'd chosen a striped top for the occasion. Simple, stylish, and professional. But just moments before the cameras rolled, a producer ran in, looking panicked. The striped top was creating a strange glitchy effect with the cameras, something called strobing. The lines on her shirt were literally messing up the broadcast feed. With no time to return to her dressing room, Kate had to act fast. Someone handed her a plain backup top, and right there backstage, she swapped shirts. It was rushed, awkward, and far from ideal. But it solved the strobing problem. Or so they thought. Once on air, Kate started noticing the new top wasn't cooperating. Throughout the entire show, she kept subtly pulling at it, adjusting the neckline, smoothing the fabric. The more she adjusted, the more obvious it became that something wasn't right. Cameras accidentally caught her tugging at it multiple times. Viewers couldn't help but notice her slight discomfort. "I felt half-dressed the whole time," Kate admitted later, laughing it off. "I kept thinking something was going to slip. Thankfully, nothing did. But the anxiety of holding it together was clear." Number 5. Adeles' Windy Day Disaster. Adele is known for her powerhouse voice and relatable sense of humor. But in one unforgettable interview with Graham Norton, she proved she's also the queen of laughing at herself, even when disaster strikes. During their chat, Adele shared a wild story about a day when she was walking through London wearing a poncho-style dress. It wasn't her usual glam look, just something comfy, loose, and casual. But there was one big problem. It didn't have sleeves. It just draped around her neck and shoulders, flowing freely. As she was walking, a sudden gust of wind came roaring down the street. "It caught the dress," Adele explained, laughing as she remembered it. "And it just lifted it straight up. In seconds, the fabric flew up like a parachute, leaving Adele standing on the sidewalk, completely exposed. There I was, basically spinning my dress around my neck like a hula hoop," she joked. "I was butt naked underneath." Passers-by at the bus stop across the street burst into laughter. "They didn't know it was me," Adele said, grinning. "But they've definitely seen me now." With no way to cover herself, Adele had no choice but to gather the fabric and walk home, head down, hoping no one recognized her. It wasn't exactly a Marilyn Monroe moment, she quipped. "It was just me, with no glamour, no movie lights, just a windy street and a bus stop full of old ladies." Number 4. Jason Momoa flashes his loincloth. Jason Momoa isn't shy about making an entrance. But when he appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live to promote Slumberland, no one expected him to bring part of the movie costume with him, and then reveal it in the most unforgettable way. Jason walked out wearing casual clothes, but still had a playful sparkle in his eye. Jimmy immediately asked him about the outfit he wore in the film. A traditional Hawaiian malo, basically a loincloth. "Are you wearing it right now under those pants?" Jimmy joked. Jason grinned but didn't answer right away. Then, without warning, Jason stood up, turned his back to the audience, and pulled down his pants just enough to show the malo underneath. The crowd erupted in cheers, laughter, and a few shocked gasps. Jimmy looked half amused, half panicked. You're really wearing it?" he asked, laughing. "Of course I am," Jason declared proudly, turning back around and flashing a cheeky smile. "Gotta stay ready." It wasn't a full striptease, but it was enough to send the audience wild. Jason stood there, hands on hips, completely unfazed. Jimmy couldn't stop laughing. "That's the first time someone's mooned us in a traditional way," he joked. Jason later explained that the malo was part of his heritage and his way of staying connected to his roots. But he also admitted it was just plain fun to surprise people with it. "People expect me to be wild," he said with a wink. "I like living up to it." It was bold, unexpected, and pure Mamoa. Another moment where the actor showed he's always up for a good laugh and never afraid to bear it all, literally and figuratively. Number 3. Anna Nicole Smith's dress falls apart. Anna Nicole Smith was no stranger to wild headlines, but her interview with Conan O'Brien turned into one of her most unpredictable, chaotic moments on live TV. From the second she walked onto the stage, Anna stole the spotlight. Her outfit was eye-catching, glamorous, bold, and maybe a little risky for sitting under bright studio lights. But what happened next, no one could have predicted. Midway through the interview, while chatting about her latest projects, Anna shared an offbeat story about a meeting she'd had with a producer. As she described the scene, she suddenly paused, looked down at her chest, and laughed. "My dress is falling off!" she exclaimed. The straps on her dress had slipped, and the front was beginning to come undone. Right there, live on air. Conan's eyes widened. "Oh boy," he muttered, looking around for help. Anna wasn't shy about it, though. She adjusted her dress, laughed it off, and kept going like nothing happened. But the moment wasn't over. As she kept talking, she laughed even harder. And that's when disaster struck again. While laughing mid-sentence, Anna accidentally spit a bite of salad onto the producer she'd been telling the story about. Conan burst into laughter. The audience howled. "I spit the salad on him," Anna giggled, doubling over with embarrassment and delight. It was pure chaos, half wardrobe malfunction, half comedy show. But Anna didn't hide from it. She owned every second, laughing louder than anyone else. Some stars avoid awkwardness, but Anna turned it into a performance. Number 2. Jennifer Lawrence's red carpet mishap. Jennifer Lawrence has always been beloved for her honesty, humor, and down-to-earth charm. But at the 2013 Academy Awards, she proved she could even turn a public stumble into an iconic moment. Jennifer had just won Best Actress for her role in Silver Linings Playbook. As her name was called, she stood up, heart racing, ready to make the biggest walk of her life. But as she climbed the stage steps, disaster struck. The hem of her long, flowing Dior gown caught under her feet, and down she went. She didn't just stumble. She fell forward, catching herself with her hands on the stairs, her dress pooling around her. The entire audience gasped. A few stood up in shock. Jennifer took a deep breath, gathered her dress, and slowly stood back up, her face red but smiling. When she finally reached the microphone, the first words out of her mouth were pure Jennifer. "You guys are just standing up because you feel bad that I fell, and that's really embarrassing. But thank you." The crowd erupted in laughter and applause. That single moment instantly became Oscar history. Photos of her fall covered magazines and websites the next day. But instead of hiding from it, Jennifer embraced it. "I fell. What are you gonna do?" she joked later. I tried to walk upstairs in an enormous dress. It didn't work. In interviews afterward, Jennifer kept poking fun at herself, calling it the best moment of the night. Fans loved her even more for it. From tripping on the Oscars stage to nearly flashing the audience, Jennifer Lawrence and Emma Stone proved that even Hollywood royalty can have totally human moments, just in designer gowns and under 1 million cameras. Number 1. Emma Stone's Oscars dress split. Emma Stone is no stranger to red carpets, but during the 2024 Oscars, she experienced a wardrobe malfunction that nearly stole the show and proved just how quick she is under pressure. Emma arrived looking radiant in a sleek, beaded gown. She posed for photos, smiled for cameras, and headed into the ceremony feeling confident. But backstage, just moments before her name was announced for Best Actress, something went wrong. As she sat down, she felt a tug, and then heard it, a quiet rip. Her dress had split. "I was so excited I started dancing around and I guess I split it," Emma admitted later with a laugh. The tear wasn't tiny. It ran up the side seam of the gown, threatening to expose more than just the lining. With cameras about to turn to her for the award announcement, panic set in. But Emma kept her cool. A nearby stylist rushed over with pins, tape, and quick fixes. Emma stood still as they worked, hoping the patch job would hold. And it did. Barely. When her name was called, she walked gracefully to the stage, smiled wide, and accepted her Oscar like nothing had happened. Later on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, Emma shared the story, laughing as she described the scramble. "It was like being in a spy movie backstage," she joked. "Everyone was running around with safety pins and duct tape." And once again, fans fell in love with her ability to stay genuine, goofy, and graceful under pressure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the next video for more exciting content.